Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udire. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayana, the Supreme Supreme Being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Light, and unto Srila Vyasdev, the author. Nashchaprayeshu Shadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. By reading the classes of the Bhagavatam and having of service to the pure devotees, all that is service unto the heart is almost completely destroyed, and nothing is unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised as transcendental songs, established as the irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumritam Jnana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. My spiritual master opened my eyes to the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Alright, Hare Krishna everyone. So today we are reading from Canto 7, Chapter 5, and we will be reading the verses from 8 to 14. Yeah.
Text 8. When Hiranyakashipu's servants brought the boy Prahlad back to the Gurukul, the place where Brahmins taught the boys, the priest of the devils, Sanda and Amarka pacified him. With very mild voices and affectionate words, they inquired as follows.
Dear son Prahlad, all peace and good fortune of kindly do not speak last, just reply with the truth. These boys, see, are not like you, for they do not speak in a deviant way. How have you learned these instructions? How has your intelligence been spoiled in this way?
O best of your family and give solutions being brought about you, brought by you or by any means. We love your teachers, Radhi, even suggest all these which tell us that.
Text 11.
Prahlad Maharaj replied, let me offer respectful obeisances unto the supreme personality of Godhead, whose external image has created the distinctions of my friend and my enemy by the complete intelligence of man. Indeed, I am now actually experiencing them, although I have previously heard of it from only of instances.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is with the living entity. Because of his devotional service, one becomes abundant and does not make distinctions between enemies, friends, and himself. Intelligently, he then thinks, every one of us is a eternal servant of God, and therefore we are not different from one another.
Text 30. Persons who always think of enemy and friend are unable to ascertain the super soul within themselves. Not to speak of them, even such exalted persons as Lord Brahma, who are fully conversant with the Vedic literature, are sometimes bewildered in following the principles of devotional service. The same Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has created this situation, has certainly given me the intelligence to take heed of your so-called enemy.
O Brahmanas, teachers, iron attracted by magnetic stone moves automatically towards the magnet. My conscience, having been changed by his will, is attracted by Lord Vishnu. He carries a disc in his hand, thus I have no independence.
So we'll be reading text number 11. Sri Prahlad Uvacha
Sri Prahlad Uvacha
Parasvascheta asadraha
Parasvascheta asadraha
Pumsamyan maya kritaha
Pumsamyan maya kritaha
Vimohadiyan drishtas
Vimohadiyan drishtas
Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha
Tasmai Bhagavate Namaha
Sri Prahlad Uvacha
Sri Prahlad Uvacha
Parasvascheta asadraha
Parasvascheta asadraha
Pumsamyan विमोहिताधियं दृष्टा
विमोहिताधियं दृष्टा
तस्मै भगवते नमः
तस्मै भगवते नमः
श्रीप्रह्लादुवाच
श्रीप्रह्लादुवाच
परास्वश्चेत सद्ग्रहः
परास्वस्यैत सद्ग्रहः
पुंसां यन्मायया कृतः
पुंसां यन्मायया कृतः
विमोहिताधियं दृष्टा
विमोहिताधियं दृष्टा
तस्मै भगवते नमः
तस्मै भगवते नमः
श्रीप्रह्लादुवाच
श्रीप्रह्लादुवाच
परस्वचित् असद्ग्रहः
परास्वश्चेत सद्ग्रहः
पुंसां यन्मायया कृता
पुंसां यन्मायया कृतः विमोहिताधियं दृष्टा तस्मै भगवते नमः परास्वश्चेत असद्ग्रहः
पुंसां यन्मायया कृतः
पुंसां यन्मायया कृतः विमोहिताधियं दृष्टा तस्मै भगवते नमः श्रीप्रह्लादुवाच परास्वश्चेत असद्ग्रहः
पुंसां यन्मायया कृतः
पुंसां यन्मायया कृतः विमोहिताधियं दृष्टा तस्मै भगवते नमः
तस्मै भगवते नमः
श्रीप्रह्लादुवाच
श्रीप्रह्लादुवाच
परास्वश्चेत सद्ग्रहः
पुंसां यन्मायये कृतः
पुंसां यन्मायया कृतः
विमोहिताधियं दृष्टा
विमोहिताधियं दृष्टा
तस्मै भगवते नमः
तस्मै भगवते नमः
श्रीप्रह्लाद उवाच
श्रीप्रह्लादुवाच
स्वस्य सद्ग्रहः
परास्वश्चेत सद्ग्रहः पुंसां यन्मायया कृतः
विमोहिताधियं दृष्टा
विमोहिताधियं दृष्टा तस्मै भगवते नमः
Sri Prahlad Uvacha Paraha, an enemy, Swaha, a kinsman of Cha, also, indeed, thus, Asatgraha, material conception of pride, Pumsam, of persons, of whom, Maya, by external energy, Kritaha, created, Vimodita, bewildered, Niyam, of those whose intelligence, Drishta, practically experienced, Tasmai, unto Bhagavate, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Namaha, my respectful obeisances. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Sri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Everyone together. Prahlad Maharaj replied, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose external energy has created a distinction of mine and my enemy by reviewing the intelligence of man. Indeed, I am now actually experiencing this, although I have been of it from authoritative sources. Purpose. Anything like this?
As stated in Bhagavad Gita 5:18, Vidya
विनया संपन्ने ब्राह्मणगविहस्तिनि सुनिश्चैव स्वभावे च पंडिता समदर्शिनः.
The humble sage, by virtue of his knowledge, seek vision, a learned and gentle Brahmana, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog eater, outcast. Pandita, those who are actually learned, the equipoised, advanced devotees, who have full knowledge of everything, do not see any living entity as an enemy or friend. Instead, with broader vision, they see that everyone is part of Krishna, as confirmed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jivera Swarup Koy Krishna Nityadas. Every living entity, being part of Supreme Lord, is meant to serve the Lord, just as every part of the body is meant to serve the whole body.
As servants of
the Supreme Lord, all living entities are one, but a Vaishnava, because of his natural humility, does every other living entity as Prabhu. A Vaishnava sees other servants to be so advanced that he has much to learn from them. Thus he accepts all other devotees of the Lord as Prabhu, Master. Although everyone is the servant of Lord, and one Vaishnava servant, because of humility, sees another servant as his master. Understanding the master begins from understanding of the spiritual master. Yes, by the mercy of the spiritual master, one receives the benediction of Krishna. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. Sakshat
The spiritual master is to be honored as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential surveyor of the Lord. This is acknowledged in all revealed scripture by all authorities. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of such a spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Sri Hari Krishna. The spiritual master, the servant of God, is engaged in the most essential service of the Lord, namely delivering all conditioned souls from the clutches of Maya, in which one thinks, this person is my enemy and that one is my friend. Actually, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the friend of all living entities, and all living entities are eternal servants of the Supreme Lord. Oneness is possible through this understanding, not through artificially thinking that every one of us is God or equal to God. The true understanding is that God is the Supreme Master and that all of us are servants of the Supreme Lord, and therefore on the same platform. This had already been taught to Prahlad by his spiritual master Narada, but Prahlada was nonetheless surprised by how a bewildered soul thinks one person is his enemy as well.
As long as one adheres to the philosophy of duality, thinking one person a friend and another an enemy, he should be understood to be in the clutches of Maya. The Mayavadi people who thinks that all the living entities are God and all for one is also mistaken. No one is equal to God. The servant cannot be equal master. According to the Vaishnava philosophy, the master is one and the servants are also one. But the distinction between the master and servant must continue even in the liberated stage. In the conditioned stage, we think that some living beings are our friends, whereas others are our enemies, and thus we are in a duality. In a liberated stage, however, the conception is that God is the master and that all living entities, being servants of God, are one.
Hare Krishna. In this canto, in the previous chapter, we saw about how Shaku was terrorizing everyone. So he got benediction from Lord Brahma that nobody wanted to be immortal, but Lord Brahma was like, I'm immortal, so I can't give you. So he tried a variety of combinations and everything, so that equals to not being killed by anyone. And he was then terrorizing everyone. He had conquered 3 worlds, and all the demigods were now under him. Even Rama was under him, and even Indra was very fearful, and they were all to Lord Vishnu to help them. He was very much envious of Lord Vishnu because obviously he had killed his brother Hiranyaksha, and he wanted to conquer him and kill him and do whatever it means to show that he is and there is no one above him. And he was thinking that he would be above God, which is not possible. But here in this chapter we read about Prahlad Maharaj, his son of Hiranyakashipu. So Prahlad Maharaj's, Hiranyakashipu's spiritual master, I think it was Shukracharya, Shankaracharya? Shukracharya, yeah. So Shukracharya's sons were these 2, Sanda and Amarka. Yeah. So, sorry, Hiranyakashipu had interested them to have his son to be taught under them. So he wanted him to learn all the material things like economics, politics, and all those things of to how to rule a kingdom and all those things. But then when Prahlad Maharaj used to be asked by his father, what did you learn? So he used to always talk about Krishna and how Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead and how we should do devotion of Krishna. So he then asked his teachers to come and then asked them that what are you teaching my. He's always talking about Krishna, like I don't know what is happening. So it was a surprise for a while that we are not teaching him any of this. So they thought that maybe someone else is teaching and we will have a close look on him and we will specifically more focus on him. And then they were like so focusing more on him and then teaching him more of the material things. But then Prahlad Maharaj, he was a pure devotee of the Lord. Again, Hiranyakashipu asked him that what did you learn, and then again he mentioned about Krishna and how we are servants of Krishna and we should always do devotional service for Krishna. And that just bewildered Hiranyakashipu, like what is this going on? Like, and even the teachers bewildered that, and it's mentioned in one of the purports as well that in the translation that even all of the students were not like him and they were not speaking in a deviant way, and he was just speaking from somewhere else. So they were wondering that if was it an enemy who was teaching Prahlad Maharaj all of this, or who was it? They were trying to get this information from Prahlad Maharaj. But Prahlad Maharaj, as the pure devotee of the birth, he knew all of this knowledge from within, and there was no one who had actually influenced him, but it was actually when the womb of his mother Kayadu, Narad Muni was the one who was giving the teachings to his mother, and then he was also hearing all this. So from there, and he had got a benediction as well that the son would be a pure devotee of Lord Krishna. So yeah, and so that was about Prahlad Maharaj and then Hiranyakashipu obviously, and we see that he tried to kill him in variety of ways. He had put him in front of snakes and then throw him from a cliff, and then fed him poison and then had elephant over him, but nothing was he was not being affected by anything because he had unwavering faith in Krishna, and that is what we should also have. So in this verse it meant about how we have created the distinctions between my friend and my enemy in double quotes. This is I think a very important lesson for us, because we also think that when we have like good set of people that this is our friends, and then bad set of people we think that these are my enemies. But the main thing we have to understand is Samadarshana, which is also one of the values of Krishna house, and we see everyone as equal, which we always like forget. Krishna is residing in everyone, and we all are servants of Krishna. So why to be enemies with everyone? We should always see that he is also trying to serve Krishna. And the problem with us within is that we are always trying to fault find in others. We are always trying to fault find whatever good they will do all their life. If they do all their life good, even if they do one mistake, that one mistake only people will point out. And even in the corporate world, you will see that whatever good work you do, when the time comes for appraisal, your manager will only remember all the bad things which you have done, and he will try to pull your performance down. That time you have done this, that time you have done that, but he will not see all the good things you have done the whole year. So this is what's inbuilt in us, which we have to get out of it, right? And even if someone does bad to us, we should see that what is the good qualities in them, what good things they have done within us. But what happens with us that once we have an enmity towards someone, we just don't want to talk about the good qualities of them. We just want to talk about the bad qualities, and that is how we do prajalpa. how Prajalpa happens. So we should just try to refrain from doing this and avoid this, and always try to remember that we have to see everyone as equal, as it is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 5.18, that he sees a learned Brahmana sees a cow, elephant, dog, and a dog eater, even a dog eater. So we have to see everyone as equal. So the next time you see a homeless guy, don't try to give looks to him, and try to think that, oh, even he is a servant of Krishna, and and he is also servant, and we both are equal. That is how our thinking should be, and not think that he is an out or something. And one more important thing is, we in this purport it mentions about we calling each other as Prabhu. So now if anybody asks any one of you over here that why do you call each one of them Prabhu? So what should be your answer?
5.7.
No, you have to give the answer. You can't go and check. What is
He
it?
used to be humble and
Sorry, go ahead.
humble and willing to learn from them since we see Krishna in their heart.
Right.
I was just saying those pull the words out from Prabhupada said.
Yeah.
Seeing everyone as my Lord and I am his servant.
Yeah.
Seeing everyone same. And as you said, Sandarshan, seeing equal.
Yeah, see the word. And Prabhu means master. So you are trying to learn from the master. You're always trying to be humble, that you know more than me. Even if a person is just come into Krishna consciousness, we try to learn from him. That should be our mood, and not to say that, oh, he's new in Krishna consciousness, what do I learn? But that is what our mood should be, that to learn from him, because we see that new people are in Krishna consciousness, we see their excitement, and we see them. That is how sometimes what happened, that once we are in Krishna consciousness, our just tries to drop, and we try to plateau. But what happens that when someone is new in Krishna consciousness, we see that he has got a taste, and we should also get inspired by them. And that happens only by understanding of the spiritual master, and we recite the Guru Ashtakam every day, which mentions that by the mercy of the spiritual master, only one receives the benediction of Krishna, and we cannot make any advancement by without the grace of a spiritual master. We have to understand that the spiritual master is to be honored as the supreme Lord, and then only we have to serve him like we are serving the Lord, and then only we will be able to progress in our devotional service. Otherwise, if you think that this person is my enemy and this person is my friend, then you are in clutches of Maya. It is understood. It is mentioned that it is understood that you are in the clutches of Maya. They think that all living entities are the Mayavadi philosophy. Think that all living entities are God, which is not true. We are all the servants of the Lord, and we are nowhere. We can be God, and whatever we do, we can never reach that position. Is what we have to understand. Otherwise, whatever endeavor you do, it's all going to be in vain. And thinking about the enemies, we recently had Kesha Swami Maharaj, and one of the questions was about enemies, that we have enemies in our life. So what should we do? And he had given a very good response, that it's not them thinking us as their enemies, but it is us within us, that what we think about them. Because if we have any negativity towards them, that will only kill us and not them. And we see a lot of, and he had mentioned about Prabhupada, and Prabhupada in the case of building the temple, where Mr. Nair was trying to fool Prabhupada. But Prabhupada was very calm. He went the legal route, and he tried all things. But he was very calm, and he tried things to make sure that because it's for the Lord, he was not seeing that, oh, he's my enemy and I have to defeat him. No, that was not his mood. His mood was that this is the place of the Lord. The Lord has already come here, and this is now the home of the Lord. So I have to make sure that the Lord home is built. His home is built. Krishna's home is built over here. That was his mood. His mood was not to defeat the previous owner, but his mood was to make sure that the temple is built for the Lord, so that it can only benefit the other devotees as well. Because we see that if we have the revenge mood, that is something that is a demoniac quality. where we try to respond in harshness. So we should never ever respond in harshness. We should always maintain our equanimity and make sure that we first understand the situation and never react immediately, because that is what demons do. So if you react the next time immediately, I know who you are. Yeah, so we see these cases in Bhagavatam where you can see that Hiranyakashipu had reacted when his brother Hiranyaksha was killed, and then when Shishupal was killed, we can see that Dandavakra had reacted, and also when Putna and Bakasur was killed, his younger brother Agasur had, tried to come and kill Krishna, but then all these things we see are like demonic quality. And they were, their desire was to take revenge and to kill them. But devotees of the Lord are completely opposite. They don't want any revenge, right? They are like completely opposite, and it is mentioned in the Bhagavatam that a devotee may be defamed, cheated, cursed, or try to kill them, but they don't try to do the same with them, with what has happened with them, right? And we see the of Parikshit Maharaj as well, right? He was cursed, but he took that as a benediction to learn about Srimad Bhagavatam, and where he was he was then taken back to Godhead. And there are like various other examples as well that we see of Chapar Gopal and Srivakur, that he tried to defame Srivas Thakur, and Chapar Gopal tried to defame Srivas Thakur, but then Srivas Thakur, by his humility, he became more and more glorified between all the devotees, and we see in the case of Mahabharata also, like Pandavas, they were being defamed and cheated a lot of, but they kept their cool and equanimity, and they did whatever Krishna asked them to do. They could have also retaliated, and when things were not going their way, but they made sure that they didn't react. And this is what we also have to learn, that we have to not react. We have to take this as something like how we can help us devotional service. And we can see the example of Narad Muni, that when Narad Muni had made the 10,000 sons of Daksha brahmacharis, he was cursed by Daksha that you can't remain in one place anytime. And then Narad Muni was, oh, okay, so be it, let the fire of devotion spread everywhere, and go and preach this message to everyone, and it's good for me that I can stay in one place, so that the preaching is happening everywhere around the world. Sankirtan is happening. Sankirtan is happening, and really only like we had the Bhadra Purnima, we saw the excitement and the inspiration where all the devotees were doing like so good contribution, and I was so much inspired by them, and like the last target was 291, and I didn't think that we would do it. But the devotees were so fired up, and we could see Bhakti Academy as well. You guys were so inspirational. I could see Venkatesh Prabhu all time. He was there and making sure devotees know about Bhagavatam, and distributing sets, Yamala Hairam Prabhu, and all others as well who were helping in the background, coming whatever time they could give, and everyone. And that was really inspirational. I would say that was really good. And this is what Prabhupada also mentioned, that the books are distributed by the enthusiasm of my devotees. It's not something that people will come and try to take the Bhagavatam, but it's to see the devotees trying to express the love for Krishna, that the person in front of them are like, oh, okay, this is so fueled up by the love of the Lord, and then I should also get this book and try to understand what is his love which he is feeling, also want to feel, right? And this is something that we should always have to work on, because love for the Lord is not something which occurs in the day or the night. It occurs in installments. You have to give your time, and it's with any other relationship, right? If you have to grow any relationship, you have to make sure you care for them. You are trying to understand them. You try to know more about them, and it's like example given of a flower. Like a flower doesn't blossom magically. Like you have to give love to them. You have to pour water. You have to make sure that it's getting the right amount of sunlight. And it becomes very important to understand that love will only grow once you try to put engage time in it. And how we engage our time in it? By doing our sadhana, by doing our chanting, by reading scriptures. This is how we try to engage, right? And like in the love also there are like different stages. So in the first stage of what you do is, what people do is they just go on a Sunday and visit the temple is what they do. But then the second stage, what they do, they have 1 hour of spiritual practice which they do every day. It can be anything, which can be puja or something. And but in the next stage happens this that they offer the first portion of their food to the Lord. And then the thing is they make sure that in every decision making they make Krishna, they take into consideration Krishna as well. And the last stage is that our first love is Krishna, and whatever our decision is always on making sure that our love for Krishna is always awakened. And what stage you may be in, you will experience happiness. And Krishna will always try to help you to get to the next stage. And Krishna is like Krishna is like a drug dealer. So he will try to give you some of it, and then you will feel the love, and then you want more and more of it. And that way you will only increase your love for him. Because in the first stage, we see that when a candle is burned, the wind will just blow the candle away. But what we have to reach is that the fire of our love is so much that it is like forest fire, and the wind is only making sure it's fueling that fire more and more. So we have to make sure that whatever our life situation, whatever our challenges are in our life, that will always come, because people always come to God whenever they are whenever they have challenges. But what our devotional service should be, our practice of Krishna consciousness should be tense when we don't have challenges, because it is said that the person who sheds sweats who sweats in practice in the war, he has less
He sheds less blood.
he sheds the less gallons of blood. That's what. So we don't have to wait for challenges to come and then we go to the Lord. Oh Lord, please help me from this challenge, and help me get a big house, and get me a good job, and get me all those things. But what we see is what we evolve from that. And you can in your life as well. When you were new in Krishna consciousness, when I was new in Krishna consciousness, I remember what I used to always ask the Lord that, just get me out of this, get me out of that. That was my only goal in life, to get out of all the difficult challenges and problems. But I was not focusing on the main root cause, that this will just help me temporarily. But and in the Bhagavad Gita it's mentioned that this world is temporary and full of misery. So these challenges will continue to come, but what helps us is what we do, the devotional service for the Lord. And you will feel blissful, you will feel happy in the process of Krishna consciousness. And it's very important that we understand this process very clearly, and try to get more and more people as well. And we have a lot of teachings, we have a lot of books for that, and it's all important that we always have 3 things with us, which is the spiritual people, the spiritual practice, and the spiritual wisdom. So these 3 will always help us to grow in our spiritual progress. And whenever you're feeling low, you should always surround yourself with with spiritual people who always think about Krishna. And like I have seen devotees who see everything which is happening with them as something that Krishna is doing for them. That level we have to reach, and we have to understand that. But what we think that Krishna is so big, but still he's doing so many things for me in my life. That is what the level we have to understand. Everything is whatever is happening because of him, and always be grateful for him that whatever we are getting, whatever we are doing is always that Krishna is part of our life, and it's really to reach that level that Krishna is making all these things and all these things are doing. So yeah, and also last Monday was a very important day in our Gauriya Vaishnav, that we had the appearance day of Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. As you know, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur is one of our great acharyas, and he is also known as the seventh acharya. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur was born in Bengal, and he started his journey as a district magistrate, and then he was a very exalted devotee, and he made sure that because in 1500s Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, so this Krishna consciousness movement was blowing like fire. But then after some time, and it's just waning out. But it was Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur who then reignited this fire. And he was a very exalted devotee, and we have to learn so much from him, because we always think that we want to become brahmachari, and then only we can be able to do our Krishna consciousness practice, which is great. But he was in fact inspirational, because being a grihastha, he was doing a lot for the devotional service. He was writing so much. He was not in an ordinary position. He was a district magistrate, so you know what kind of jobs and responsibilities are there for a district magistrate. And he was so
IAS officer.
yeah, he was current day IAS he was a current day IAS officer, and it was not very easy for him, because and he was very sharp with his work. He used to complete his work very efficiently, and he had to make decisions to see what is right and wrong, and he could like very sharply could tell that who is right and who is wrong, and that was his quality. He made sure that he kept on translating Sanskrit to Bengali, and we see in the Avicharana series as well that how there were like Sahajiyas and other people who trying to say that they were God, but then he tried to make understand the people that he's not God, and all those things which had happened over there. He had so full trust in the Srimad Bhagavatam that he was reading Srimad Bhagavatam. There were a lot of tantrics and everything they were trying to harm him, but eventually he was victorious, because he had unwavering faith on the Lord. And his son, and then he wanted someone to have this movement spread, and he was not only limited to only spreading the movement in India, but he had literatures written in English and sent them outside, and one of his literature was also sent in 1896 to University, which is in Montreal, and he was wanted this preaching to go around the world, and his son, we know, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was also an instrument to make sure that this process is, and he gave the instruction to Srila Prabhupada that Prabhupada, you go ahead and make this, spread this knowledge to the West well. And another important day was Srila Haridas Thakur's disappearance day. We know Srila Haridas Thakur, he was born in a Muslim family, but yet he was such a pure devotee of the Lord. And the story was that one of the Mohammedan administrators knew about he practicing chanting the names of the Lord, and he told the king, also a Muslim, that he's chanting, he's trying to become Hindu. And then he was summoned to the king, and then the king tried to explain him that this is not what you're doing is right. But he was very adamant. The Supreme Personality of God is Krishna, and I'm only going to take his name. And he was then punished to be beaten in 22 markets of the kingdom. And even though after being beaten by 22 markets, nothing happened to him, he had so good faith in the Lord that after beating him, the persons who were beating him, they will pay obeisances to him, and fearful that if he did not die, the king would kill them. So Srila Haridas Thakur made sure that he tried to be, he went into ecstasy, and then he just tried just like like a dead man, and then they then took them to the king, and the king ordered to put him in the river, and then his body was floating, and then he woke up, and then the king was like, oh, how did he wake up? And then the king also was then asking for forgiveness from him, and then we know that Srila Haridas Thakur used to chant 192 rounds, which is like 3,000 names, and the whole day he was used to chant, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him the name of Namacharya, and he used to chant in a cave, in a tree, near a tree. And once what happened that there was a snake who was also living there, so he requested the snake, either of us can live over here, so if you want me to be here, but I request you to leave. And the snake was so kind enough that snake left, and then because all the devotees wanted association of Haridas Thakur, and the snake understood that it's benefit of me that I leave, and so that people can get association of Haridas Thakur and also become more and more engaged in devotional service. And yesterday was also a very important day for Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of ISKCON, had taken sannyas. So what had happened that when Prabhupada was doing his medicine business in Lucknow, his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, had come to his dream and was asking him to take sannyas. But was very reluctant because he had to take care of his business and there were so many things pending, and he did not feel that I am now ready to take sannyas, and he was trying to make things better over there. But then things didn't work out, his business failed, he then came to Prayag, he then started Prayag pharmacy over there, and then again he had got that dream from his Guru Maharaj asking him to take sannyas and preach to the West. But then again, he had just started a new business, and he had his sons to take care of, he had his family, so he was still engaged, and he didn't think that I'm not at all ready right now. And then his business was not very successful over there, and the only verse he was getting in his mind was the Bhagavatam verse, which mentions that when the Lord favors you mercifully, He takes everything away from you, so that all your friends, and so that you become poverty, so that you are poverty stricken, and then your friends, family, relatives leave you, is what was going. And what was, we can see from this that the Lord had, Prabhupada had special mercy on him. That is why whatever material things he was trying to do was being successful, but that was benefit for ourselves as well, right? And then Prabhupada took sannyas in 1959 from Keshav Maharaj, who was from the Gaudiya Mutt, and he was Prabhupada was already living as a renunciate for the 9 years, and it was just a matter of time that he was just changed his clothes from white to saffron, but he was like living as sannyasi earlier. It was just that it was just official that he was sannyas, and we can also see that picture of Prabhupada taking sannyas in the front. There was one more Maharaj, Muni Maharaj, who were taking sannyas that day, and there was no announcements made for that sannyas initiation ceremony, and it was just the close people in the Gaudiya Mutt that were there present over there. And after the ceremony, Prabhupada was asked to speak, and Prabhupada was not ready to speak. Then he made sure that he made the speech in English, because that was his was to teach this teaching of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in English. And he gave a good speech about how spreading this message and how it is very important for people to know. And that is why this was a very important day in our lives. So yes, we had a very important week over here, and yeah, that was about it from my side. If you have any questions, yeah, go ahead.
We were talking about seeing everyone as our master, right? We call everyone Prabhu.
Yeah.
We speak that, okay, you are my Prabhu, you are my master, but how we actually feel it? Sometimes when we call someone who is senior to us in age or in practices, then we feel that, okay, he's my master.
Right.
But when someone is not senior to us, who is joined movement late, or is younger than us in age, so how do we feel that he is also my master?
Right. So, what the mood of a devotee is to have always have a learning attitude, Because if we think that he's lower than us, that what is we have to understand, we have to aware that this feeling that he's new and he's junior to us, that is because of our ego within. So first is the understanding of where is this coming from. So you understand that this is the ego thing, and then you try to understand that how to go about it. So you understand that, oh, my ego is coming in my way and I'm thinking that he's new and I'm not able, won't be able to learn from him. But then once you understand, you take your false egos and then you try to understand from him and learn from him. Because I always, seeing new devotees and seeing their spiritual practices and seeing them every day in the temple. Like recently, there was a devotee who's coming for Mangala Aarti. I don't know if you know him. He comes from Mangala Aarti from Scarborough. Yeah, and he's a very new devotee, and I'm like very inspired from him that how easy to come daily for Mangala Aarti and from which so far, and we are just over here. And that is our mood should be, that always to learn from others and be inspired from them rather than just trying to lower them down and yeah. Yeah. You would like to add something?
No, I think that's perfect.
Yeah, so yeah.
So Shukracharya and his sons are mentioned as Brahmins here.
Yeah.
Is it still called the Brahman if your consciousness is impure?
This is a good question. So I think there are qualities of a Brahmana which are mentioned in the scriptures, that these are called Brahmana. But what is the difference between having been a qualified Brahmana and having been born a Brahmana by birth, which are like two different. So over here you can see that they were being born Brahmana by birth. But the main thing is that you become a Brahmana by, it's mentioned in the Bhagavad by quality, by good and karma, right? So by your quality, your skills, and your karma, karma is that you become a Brahmana. So that is what is important. That even Brahmana was a Brahmana, but did he have the qualities? Is what the question we should ask. Yeah, it comes to this.
Thank you so much for the wonderful class. I really love these two allegorical examples you gave of flower and fire, how they both have you have to really do it. My question to you is, probably you mentioned that taking revenge is a demonic quality.
Yeah.
But also we see it's also in Goloka between two groups of Radharani and her sister Chandravali.
Yeah.
And they took revenge from each other and they're just competing to each other. Sometimes it's between group of Radharani and Krishna, especially during the time of Holi, I was saying this last time.
Right.
So, is it demonic or not?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that that was something to be done in a revengeful way. That was it was transcendental. We can't compare that whatever was happening there to something material, because revenge is something we talk about being material. But whatever was happening over there, whatever the exchanges they were happening, were all transcendental. So I wouldn't put them in the same category of there being revengeful, but I would say that there was a kind of a transcendental competition happening, right? What we have in book distribution and Sankirtan as well, that we try to learn from each other, not be revengeful that, oh, Amala, Prabhu did 5 sets, I will do 10 sets. Yeah, we get inspired from them that, oh wow, he did 5 sets, I should learn from him and try to do more sets. But it shouldn't be the mood that I want to defeat Amala Prabhu and try to do more sets than him. That should not be, and is that what is difference between them? Yeah.
And I'll just add something to it. So if you would have heard the class that Prabhupada gave on Radha Ashtami in dance, so she explains that this bhajan, Radhe Jai Jai Madhav Daite, so she explains that Rupa Manjari, which is Srila Rupa Goswami, he's explaining that everything is working in favor of Radha Krishna to unite. It looks like it's not, but for example, Chandravali is an obstacle. When Krishna is coming to meet Radharani and he meets Chandravali in between and he gets distracted. And that's why the bhajan is written, Radhe Jai Jai Madhav Daite. But then at the same time, just he gets distracted. And then when Krishna realizes that, oh, I'm late, I have to run. And then he starts running and then their anklets sound upon his arrival. So, and when at that time when he meets Radharani, at that time when she meets Krishna, then it's like your thirst is matured to another level. Right? So it's like the more there's separation, the more you feel. It's like I don't know how to explain this. Like I know my brother would do this. Like if our relatives gave 2 chocolates and he would have mine, so he'd be like, first say sorry, first do this, first do this. Like he's keeping me in separation of that chocolate. And he would make me feel he will not give it to me, he'll put it on top of something that I cannot reach. And then like my father is able to hand it over to me, then you know that ecstasy of holding that dairy milk, like 5 rupees dairy milk, it's like, so it's a fact. So it's not actually envy. Everything is kind of like, is working in favor. Whereas this man is just like, no, I'll kill you because you did this to me.
Yeah.
Very different consciousness.
Jai. Jai. Thank you so much, Srimad Bhagavatam, Vrindashri Bhagavatam Ji.